Our beautiful baby girl is here, and she made her memorable entrance in the car, just minutes away from the hospital. I knew going into labor I wanted to do things as natural as possible. I wanted to stay home for as much of the labor as I could, and that's exactly what ended up happening. We headed to the hospital, didn't quite make it there when she was born in the car. I really didn't want to spend very much time at the hospital. I wanted to get home to my other kiddos.
The resilient Jenkins mom had her baby recently. She had the baby in the car. She wanted to be as natural as possible, which I completely understand, but she had the baby in the car. She stayed in the hospital for 8 hours. Now, I don't think 8 hours is enough time to be able to stay in the hospital and make sure that she's okay, make sure the baby's okay, but that's her personal decision. Now, in the video, it does show that she's doing all the work. She's doing the cooking, the cleaning. Drew is just in front of the TV or in front of his games, just doing whatever he's doing, which is really sad. I think being a parent, it should be a teamwork. I mean, if the husband's there, the dad's there, he should be able to help out around the house. So I'm not sure why she's okay with all this, because she just had a baby. Another sad part of this is that they're still facing eviction. So hopefully they're planning something to make sure that when the eviction finally does come through, they have a place to live. I've seen the eviction paperwork showing that it's for non-payment. So I'm not sure what they're doing with all this TikTok money that they've been making, because they have been making. Remember, it was her goal for about 2 years to be able to monetize her accounts, kind of have like a family vlog situation, which I don't agree with family vlogs, period.
Let's talk about the latest twist in the never-ending saga of the resilient Jenkins family. If you thought things couldn't get any messier, buckle up, because it's getting worse. Stephanie, a mother of 5, has just welcomed another baby, bringing the total to 7 people living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment. Now, common sense would tell you that with an eviction looming, she'd be focused on securing a stable home for her growing family. But nope, Stephanie's priorities seem to be elsewhere. Instead of stepping back from social media to figure out where they'll move next, she's doubling down, monetizing every moment of her life, including the birth of the newest child. Her birth story, paywalled, subscribers-only content. As if people haven't already criticized her enough for using her children to generate social media income without putting it towards their actual needs. Stephanie took to TikTok to share a vlog about her delivery, claiming she gave birth in the car on the way to the hospital. She described the experience as chaotic, saying she barely had time to process what was happening before the baby arrived. Minutes away from the ER, she insists she had no choice but to deliver her baby in the seat of her vehicle.
Our beautiful baby girl is here, and she made her memorable entrance in the car, just minutes away from the hospital. I knew going into labor I wanted to do things as natural as possible. I wanted to stay home for as much of the labor as I could, and that's exactly what ended up happening. We headed to the hospital.
While the situation sounds shocking, the way she capitalized on it afterward raises some serious questions. After finally making it to the hospital, Stephanie claims she only stayed for 8 hours before heading home. She justified her quick discharge by saying she couldn't bear to be away from her other children, especially her toddler.
Didn't quite make it there when she was born in the car. I really didn't want to spend very much time at the hospital. I wanted to get home to my other kiddos, especially my toddler. I haven't spent any time away from him, so being away from him at night would just be weird. But I did spend I think 8 hours in the hospital, and then went back home that same night. I did try to eat something while I was so used to my own cooking. I honestly couldn't wait to get back home and just get back in the kitchen and make something. The kids' reaction to meeting their sister was absolutely priceless. All of their faces lit up, and they all made sure to go run their hands under warm water and kept rubbing their hands together to keep their hands warm to hold her. It was the sweetest thing ever. I mean, look at their faces. Like I knew she would, this girl instantly stole her daddy's heart. I mean, let's be real, she stole everybody's heart in this home instantly. I love that she decided to come on the weekend too, so her siblings got a couple days to stay home from school and get to spend some time with her. We're all just soaking in the baby cuddles and settling into our new routine of a family of 7.
But let's be real. Who leaves the hospital that fast after an unassisted, unexpected car birth? Medical professionals typically require at least a 24-hour stay for newborns to monitor vitals, oxygen levels, hearing, and vision tests, and to ensure there are no underlying complications. It's standard care, particularly when a baby is delivered outside of a controlled medical environment. Why was she in such a rush? Was she actually discharged so quickly, or is this part of the dramatic storytelling she often leans on for engagement? If she truly did leave the hospital after just 8 hours, why wasn't she more concerned about making sure both she and the baby are fully examined? But what's even more concerning is how she turned this ordeal into yet another monetized event. Instead of simply sharing her experience, she put a paywall on the full birth story, offering it as an exclusive content for her paying subscribers. She framed it as a way to share her journey with a supportive audience. But let's be honest, this was a business move. The length people will go to turn life events into income streams these days is astonishing. And considering her financial struggles, you would think the money she's making from these tactics would go toward creating a better life for her children. But time and time again, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Don't put it right there.
Stephanie claims her baby was welcomed with open arms by her siblings and father, but then she shares a photo of Drew, her partner, holding the newborn while sitting in his gaming chair, headset on, screen light up with whatever game he was playing. This man just became a father again, and yet his primary focus remains his PlayStation. It raises questions. Was he too busy gaming to take her to the hospital in time? Was that why she ended up delivering in the car? The fact that he barely looked up from his screen even while holding his newborn says a lot. It wasn't a moment of bonding. It was a mere interruption to his game. What's even more frustrating is that despite their financial instability, Stephanie seems more invested in making sure Drew has the ultimate gaming setup than she is securing a better home for her children. While their one-bedroom apartment is busting at the seams, Drew's gaming session remains untouched, a priority above everything else. This isn't even about criticism at this point, it's just common sense. Why spend money on luxury, kitchen appliances, high-end skincare, a new gaming chair for Drew when you have 5, now 6 kids crammed into a tiny space facing eviction? It's not about occasional indulgence. It's a consistent pattern of misplaced priorities that leaves their children in a cycle of instability. What's most unsettling is how Stephanie continues to find ways to turn her personal life into a cash grab. The paywalled birth story is just another example of her prioritizing income over her children's well-being. She justifies it by saying she wants to share her experience with a supportive audience.
So earlier this afternoon, I was doing some things on my phone and I saw this comment pop up and it said, "She's really back in the kitchen already." Now, 9 times out of 10, I don't spend very much time on my comment section because it's just riddled with yuck. Like, honestly, the amount of evil I see in not only my comment section, but just in comment sections in general on social media make me think the good Lord needs to do another flood. But yes, I'm back in the kitchen with my diaper ass. One thing you're always going to see on this account is authenticity. The real, the raw, the ugly. I'm not here to sugarcoat life. No more will I be hiding in the bathroom to do voiceovers, so when you hear chaos in the background, that's just my life, okay? Now, honestly, I can never tell if a comment's trying to come off as offensive or just you're not capable of doing the same thing yourself, so you just decide to say it. Because the amount of people who have an issue with how independent I am and how Drew is not heavily involved in the videos, which, mind you, that has nothing to do with how supportive he is as a husband. Like, honestly, yes, I wanted to be back in the kitchen as soon as possible. I wanted to be back home doing my own thing as soon as I possibly could. I actually keep having to catch myself and remind myself it's okay to take a rest and take a break. My body does need the time to heal. Because I'm antsy to just get right back to it and keep up with my routine. Y'all, I cannot. This always just shocks me so much. Like, this baby was just inside me over just 3 short days ago. And despite the uncomfortable hormone flushes, my body is actually healing quite well.
But the reality is clear. This is a money move, and it's not the first time. She has repeatedly found ways to commercialize intimate and personal moments under the guise of storytelling and transparency. From pregnancies to evictions, each chapter of her life becomes a strategic opportunity to drive revenue. The latest paywall tactic only reinforces this pattern, turning what could be a secret, cherished moment into a business transaction. And as much as she insists it's about fostering a kind, understanding community, it's clear that the true motivation lies elsewhere. If she were actually using her platform to provide a better life for her kids, people wouldn't be so critical. But when donations and gifts keep pouring in and the living situation remains unchanged, questions naturally arise. Where is all the money going? A new crib, a better apartment, or another upgrade to Drew's gaming setup? The pattern of exploitation, coupled with the lack of meaningful change, makes it hard to believe that the well-being of her children is really at the forefront of her concerns. It's one thing to struggle, but it's another to seemingly capitalize on that struggle while doing little to change it. Time and time again, Stephanie defends her choices by saying people don't understand her independence. She claims the backlash comes from those who are jealous of her ability to handle things on her own. But Is she independent or is she just out of options? There is a stark difference between choosing self-sufficiency and being left with no other choice because your partner refuses to take responsibility. The irony is glaring. She just gave birth, yet instead of taking a moment to recover, she's already back in the kitchen, running the household alone, while Drew remains glued to his game. A newborn requires constant care, and a mother's body needs to heal, but Stephanie isn't afforded that luxury because her partner isn't stepping up. If there was ever a moment for him to prove he's the supportive husband she claims he is, this was it. Instead, the reality speaks for itself. Stephanie is once again shouldering the weight of the household alone, while Drew prioritizes his virtual world over their real-life responsibilities. Even basic gestures like handling household chores, watching over the children, or simply giving Stephanie time to rest seem to be off Drew's radar. The mental and physical load of parenting shouldn't fall entirely on one person, yet here she is, back to managing everything without so much as a breather. Independence isn't supposed to mean being left to fend for yourself while your partner continues living as if nothing has changed. The comment section has been flooded with people asking the hard-hitting questions. Where is the new baby going to sleep? In the kitchen? Will she be given the privilege of staying in the parents' space? It's also no surprise that within days of birth, Stephanie has already started using her newborn for content. At this point, it's expected. The sad truth is that people have enabled this behavior by continuously supporting her financially, despite her making no real effort to improve her family's situation. At what point does this stop? How much more will she exploit before realizing that her children deserve better than being part of an ongoing spectacle? The question remains, how far is too far? Has Stephanie finally crossed the line with the latest move? Or are we simply watching another predictable chapter in a never-ending cycle? Is she fully aware of how her actions are perceived? Or has she become so desensitized to the backlash that she no longer cares? It's a fine line between strategic storytelling and outright exploitation, and with each passing moment, it feels like she's leaning more into the latter. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this has gone beyond the usual influencer hustle? Has Stephanie's obsession with monetizing every aspect of life become an unsettling spectacle? And the biggest question of all, where is all this money actually going? If her financial situation never seems to improve despite continuous earnings, what does that say about her real priorities? Make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated on this unfolding story, because at this rate, it's not just going to get messier, it's going to get harder to ignore.